भगवान श्री योगी रामसूरतकुमार की सर्वं योगी रामसूरतकुमारार्पणमस्तु। Offering our endless pranams with deep gratitude for the special grace is very important. We not only celebrate this grace, it is as important to offer these Nama lotuses at the feet of Bhagwan. We have to surrender these Namas to his feet. Anything that you offer to God multiplies. He gives back manyfold. So it is as important to offer the names at his feet. As we go through life, if you consider the life as a pilgrimage to the destination, the house of God, then everything that happens on the way is specially and specifically arranged by the Divine for your progress in this pilgrimage towards the destination. So there is only progress. Whatever happens, no matter how negative it looks at the time of happening, it is still arranged by the Divine for your own sake, for your spiritual growth, for your progress in the pilgrimage of your life. And towards what? Towards the ultimate destination. So whatever happens on the way, be it good or bad, it is we who label it as good or bad, but in truth, the end result of each would only be positive, would only be a blessing, but you will know it only if you come to look upon it so. Right from the beginning, with faith in Bhagwan, who is organizing your life, your every step of life, every detail of your life. Leave it to him, no matter how it looks. Know from the beginning, it is a blessing from him. He knows how to turn it to your advantage. If you believe so, you will see very soon how it is a blessing. God would reveal it to you. 1 or 2 days back, I was telling you people how a hamsa, the word hamsa, is very selective about its food. When you mix water with milk and keep it in a vessel, the hamsa bird would drink up only the milk and leave the water behind. It has a skill, capacity to separate water from the milk. And it drinks up the milk and leaves the water. All the great masters are compared to the Hamsa bird. So they are called Paramahamsa, the Supreme Hamsa. Why? Because the world as it is and the life as it is a mixture of the reality and the unreality. the divine and the Maya. These great masters would be able to separate the divine from the Maya aspect, and they live established in that. Now for us, the sadhaks, we have to learn to look upon everything as grace from God. Then the grace will reveal itself, and the Maya mixed with it will leave us. This is a practice with us, and we have to practice and practice and practice until it becomes our very nature, as it has happened to all those great masters, the Paramahamsas. It is everybody's right to become a Paramahamsa. Only we should learn to discriminate between the reality and the unreality. How? How do we do it? By connecting with God. Even as you live the day-to-day life, every detail of your day-to-day life can be offered to Bhagwan, for the simple reason that, as I often repeat, the very body of yours is not yours. It's been created by God. Every part of the body has a special function to do. When you come to consider every part of the body, you would understand no part of this body is redundant. Everything is functional. Every part of the body is needed for some purpose or the other. It's not only sophisticated, it is highly functional. And who could be the creator of this, the supreme intelligence? You see, we have been hearing about the rover which has landed on Mars and how we receive the photographs from there. It's taken millions of rupees and thousands of people to work as a team, and several years. What an effort. Unthinkable, every detail has to be meticulously worked out so that a certain end will result. It takes such a giant effort, a human team, such intelligence, the experts. Now, just imagine a pure, realized soul, one thought. I would land on Mars. I would know everything about it. The very next minute, he could be there on the Mars. He would know every detail about it. If he puts his mind to it, a mind that does not nurture worldly thoughts, that does not nurture Maya, that is established in God, purified of all the illusions. It takes otherwise several years, several million rupees, and several teams of work, specialized expertise. One thought from a purified mind will get the deed done. That's the difference between the scientific intelligence and the divine sankalpa, the divine will. When God, the pure awareness, Parabrahman, Param means supreme, Brahman is prajna, the awareness, the pure awareness. because there is nothing else to be aware of. It is only aware of itself. So it's called pure awareness. It is ever in bliss. It is ever in peace. And it is the supreme intelligence. If you just look around the whole cosmos, the very structure of even the minutest insect, you would be wonderstruck at the structure of this. You take the mosquito, so small it is, but it's highly functional. And you study the parts of mosquito. It takes human intelligence much time to study and make out how every part functions. What intelligence is involved? What sophistication? What structure? Now this supreme intelligence is right inside us. If only we care to be aware of it. So what is required is purification, and that is what every sadhak must attempt. What is this purification? The selfishness, the ego. How do you know what ego is? Let somebody say something, you have done something and somebody comes and says, this is not the way to do it, please don't do it. You get hurt. That which is hurt is ego. That which hurts is also ego. You get angry. Raman Maharishi used to say, it's good that you get angry, you get grief-stricken. You feel jealous because then you know you have a mind, a very active selfishness, active ego. Otherwise you would go on imagining that you are very humble, you have no ego at all, and everyone else is at fault. What a bloated ego it is. The ego that blames everyone else for everything. So purification is liberation from the dreadful clutches of this ego, from the tyranny of this ego. This is liberation. This is purification, and for which we have to be connected with God. What happens in a purified mind? How would you know how purified you are? You think of something and you see that happening after some time, or quite after some time, or sometimes immediately. The purer the mind is, the faster it happens. So when the divine, the pure awareness, there was a small movement. Let there be creation. And what happened? Galaxies rolled out. Galaxies of stars. The huge planets. You see the mountain, awestruck. You see the ocean, how vast and deep it is. The varieties of creatures that are housed in it, nurtured by the ocean. Everything, you just look at, you make a study of the grass, of the blade of the grass. What structure, what sophistication. Everything conveys all the time the beauty, the divinity, and the intelligence of the Supreme. So the creation is there all around us, only to remind us of the Creator behind. If we get lost in the beauty of the creation, you would be distancing yourself from the Creator. The whole purpose of creation is to remind you of the Supreme Creator who is right inside you. Your very breath is rooted in Him. It is because He is there inside you, there is life in the body, and because there is life in the body, your brain is able to work at all. the circulation of blood happens. How many intelligent works are going on inside the body without your being aware of it? Are you doing it? Even to study the various parts of the body, the physiology, it takes years. So here, what I want to say is there are some devotees who come and tell me there is instant response from Bhagwan. Sometimes the very moment you think of something, there is immediate response, and sometimes it takes a little time. The other day when Pushpa had come from Salem, she was telling me a few things. How she gets instant response. This is the story part of it, that she said she had some trouble with her uterus, which was to be removed. She was very worried about it, because of which there were a lot of changes in the body. She was running a small cloth store. She named it Mahashakti Stores. And one day, she went early to the shop. She could not eat anything and she was feeling very hungry. Added to the trouble of her uterus, this hunger was also eating at her. And she was chanting all the time the Nama of Bhagwan Yogi Ramsuratkumar. And she was just praying to Bhagwan, Bhagwan, I feel so hungry and there's no food. I have come without eating and now I have to attend to the shop. Please give me something to eat. Within minutes, a cart load of food came and stood right in front of her shop. And all those vessels had been tied with a cloth, yellow cloth. And the man who was running this cart was a customer of the shop. He stopped that and said, Amma, I have to go to this place. Do you know the way? He had stopped there only to ask her that. And then, of course, she showed. She was thinking, my God, I was thinking about food and there's so much food. But it's going away to some other place. She kept quiet. Within minutes, the cart came back and said, there is some function going on. And the function is still going on. It will take some time for that to be over. In the meantime, I felt an urge to offer some food to you. Please take this. He kept some food in a plate and offered it to her. Who put the thought in this man? Because he said, as he was going to the place, it struck him to offer some food to this lady. Why would it strike him? He had no idea, even when he stopped the cart in front of the cloth store. So you see how when we invoke grace, when we make a prayer, invoke grace, the grace can change the minds of people. Where there is disharmony and disorder, if you keep praying and praying, accompanied by chanting of the name, the disharmony, the chaos will turn into order and harmony. This is what grace does. And what's more, it purifies. It removes all the unwanted feelings from people and replaces them with goodness, care, love and peace. Selfless acts. So how can we live without this grace? The grace is the foundation of life. Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan used to say, you cannot close your eyes without grace. You cannot take one step without grace. You cannot breathe without grace. The air that goes out will not return if there is no grace? Everything about life is grace. Everything about life is progress. When we make mistakes, you don't have to worry your head so much that you fall into depression. There is no need to go into depression at all. Once you know that there is so much order and harmony behind it, and this apparent mistake, you think that you have done it, please know that you have been made to do it. There is the divine will behind it. The divine will is behind everything. Your achievements, your failures. She says, Pushpa says, that at one point, the man who gave the shop for rent, he began to demand that she vacate it. Where would she go? She is very poor, and with all that, she was managing to run a satsang. So many people in the neighborhood would come to her satsang. They would sit together and chant the name. Whoever has any problem, all the others would join. And they would sing the name Yogi Ramsuratkumar. And that is how their problems were all solved. Now she got a problem herself. The man was demanding that she vacate. Where would she go? But even then, desperately, she chanted the name and made an effort to look for a different shop. She was looking and looking for it, but nothing would come out of it. But she kept chanting, persevered. And one day, the wonder of wonders, the man came and said, Amma, I will not demand. There is no need for you to vacate. Please continue. It completely reversed his mind. Just as the man, the cartload of food, went away and came back to offer food, the man who demanded that she vacate the store, he relented and he said, there is no need for you to do it. Grace. How the grace works, how it transforms people. How can you say it's all worldly? It transforms people. This transformation of the mind, the transformation of the inner life, the transformation of the outer life is the greatest miracle. Why? It prepares you for the final step, the destination. It makes the whole life a pilgrimage. And in this pilgrimage of life, everything that happens is being specifically and specially arranged by God for your spiritual growth. Pushpa says, there's a Guava tree in the backyard, and quite some time had gone, and she felt there was no fruit at all in that. She has the habit of talking to Bhagwan all the time. This is something that we have to cultivate. Look upon him as your own friend. Many people look upon him as father. You share everything and see what happens, how he solves your problems, how he intensifies your awareness of him. She was saying, what Bhagwan, it's been quite some time since the tree had developed much, but still I do not see any fruits. She very casually said, and within minutes, a man came and he was calling out from outside, Amma, you see this tree there in the backyard? I can see the high branches, there are 2 fruits there. Why wouldn't you pluck them? Why did you leave them? And that's when she spotted it. She never before spotted it, nor did anybody, for that matter. But the minute she thought and spoke to Bhagwan, there was an instant response. Bhagavan said, everything in this world is related to everything else. Swami Vivekananda used to say, if you just move something by half an inch, 1 inch, the whole cosmos is moved by 1 inch. That is how connected, how linked everything is with everything else. It's all one movement. As I told you the other day, when somebody tramples upon a blade of grass, a distant star trembles. The impact. So many light years away, but the movement is felt. When somebody is crying all the time, and you happen to be around, can you be peaceful? It affects. Everything affects everyone else. Such is the link. So the only way to get rid of oneself from the maya of the world, from the sorrows of life, is to connect oneself deeply, intensely with God. And what could be better than chanting the name? Remember the name of God. Remember the name of God. Remembering the name is prayer. Remembering the name is surrender. Remembering the name is samadhi. This is what Bhagavan said. Meaning, everything is in remembering the name. Remembering the name sharpens your brain. Remembering the name, a prayer made can change the mind of people. Where there is disharmony, it could change into a harmony and order. So the easy access to grace is only remembrance of God, remembrance of the name, and prayer. Prayer has such power, and repeated prayer, repetition has more power. Nama has power, but repetition of the name has more power. So let's remember all these things, that the indication that you are getting purified is that you get ready response from the divine, from the nature around, from strangers, from inside. A tree can speak to you, a bird can speak to you. You get messages from any source. And what's more, whatever we wish for would materialize sooner or later, a sure sign of purification. Every nama does its transforming work. And this transformation is the greatest miracle. So let us live our everyday life the way it has been designed by God, without complaining, knowing that it's the best that can happen to us from the hands of God, and celebrate His grace by remembering His name, by invoking it all the time. And know that you are only an instrument. You don't exist as a separate entity. All of us are only instruments, machines, robots, puppets. Call it what you will. But know that you don't exist as a separate entity. You don't exist except as an instrument, as a puppet in His hand. Everything happens only by the divine will. Whether it happens to a neighbor, whether it happens to any of your relatives, even the mistakes that we commit in life. You don't have to brood over it and fall into depression. It was meant to happen, so it happened. So what you should do, the minute you realize, then pray to God, it has happened, this mistake has happened through me. God, please, let this not happen again. So convert your remorse into a prayer so that it would not happen. And if it doesn't happen, repeat the prayer again and again until it happens. That's all. There is no need to go into deep depression about it. There is no need to put the blame upon others for your own failures. Your failures were meant to happen, so they happened. No one, including yourself, is responsible for it except the divine will. So what do? We learn to accept. How do we accept? We know the mind does not accept anything easily unless it's a benefit. So what benefit it is? It's a blessing from God. So once you know God is doing it for your spiritual growth, it may not suit your material life, but it will definitely cause a change, a transformation in you, a greater miracle, and therefore a definite blessing. Then the mind will be able to accept it. And this acceptance is the beginning of surrender. In acceptance of things as Ashirvad lies our salvation. So it is not only that we get solutions for our problems, immediate response from the grace, it will lead to the final dissolution of the ego. We don't stop with solutions to problems. We have to end our pilgrimage in dissolution of the separate identity, this illusory identity. So let's pray to Bhagwan for constant remembrance, constant connection with God. And today the world, as it is going through intense suffering. Only God, only grace can step in and relieve us from this misery. So let us appeal to His compassion, generosity. Bhagwan, we beg you for your immediate divine intervention to free the entire world from the grip of this virus and to bring back normalcy in every aspect of life, everywhere in the world. And Bhagwan, kindly remove all that is unwanted in us. Please bless us with constant remembrance of your name and remove all the illusions from us. The illusion of fear, the illusion of hatred, the illusion of sorrow, everything. When you look into the sorrow, you go deep and then you would find at the bottom one single thought. The deep, depressive sorrow would have started with one single thought somewhere. Had you put a check on it, it would not have grown up to this level. It's all one single thought. It multiplies, because we think about it, we brood over it. So stop it. Replace these thoughts by remembrance of God, remembering His Leelas, remembering His teachings, remembering His name. We beg you, Bhagwan, to bless us with this and stop the spread of the diseases and enter all those medicines meant for different diseases that are afflicting the mankind, so that the medicines would work and give relief. And all those great soldiers who are laboring day and night for the sake of the others, please give them protection. Give a boost to economy. And again, above all, let our life, everybody's life, be a pilgrimage towards the ultimate dissolution of the ego, towards the ultimate pure awareness. It is This awareness that has come down to us as Guru, in the form of our Guru, in the form of our deities. So let us be good instruments in the hands of the Divine, not be caught with Maya, and let us celebrate this grace with deep gratitude. Jai Yogi Ramsuratkumar.